Hey everyone, it's Hayes. We have some brand new spoilers for Miraculous Ladybug Season 6 and for the Tokyo special Stella Force. These were released, well for me it was last night, but yesterday for everyone at San Diego Comic-Con. I decided to wait a little bit so everything could come out, kind of do it in one big video, but let me know if you want like extra videos on this because there was a lot for Mr. Agreste in there, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be the next episode, so let me know if you want a little theory video on that next week. Now at the panel they showed 2 clips from Mr. Agreste and 2 clips from the Tokyo special. I will link them both down below because I'm not going to play them for copyright, and honestly I'm worried it's going to get copyrighted anyway because these images haven't been released officially, so hopefully not. However, please note when you are watching them, as it says on the screen for all of these images, it's a work in progress, temporary voices only, which is why they sound different, but obviously the final product I'm assuming will have the normal voice actors doing the voices. However, I'm not that bothered about the voice acting, just what they're saying and what's going on. So in the first clip of Mr. Agreste we have Marinette, and she is, I would assume she's in the middle of fighting, not sure fighting what or who, but then she runs down to the boat and she de-transforms back into her pyjamas. She sits on the bed, she's having a bit of a panic, she looks very upset, but then Luca just suddenly sits up, he materialises out of a very flat bed. I'm like, oh, okay, and he's like, you can tell me anything, Marinette. And she's like, I don't know how much longer I can keep the secret of Adrian's dad. You know, and what he did. He was a supervillain. And then the lighting changes and it gets darker, and actually Luca then changes into Adrian, and at this point you've worked out she's having a nightmare. He's like, how could you hide this from me, Marinette? He's completely shocked, he's betrayed. He breaks up with her on the spot, he says, you and I are over, and he gets akumatized, which, thank God. I've been waiting forever for it. However, I've already seen this little bit before. Marinette wakes up from this nightmare. Tiki's like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I suppose. She's quite clearly lying. But there's a picture of Adrian and she kisses her fingers and presses it to him. So, yeah, not going good. I'm assuming they're going to open the episode with this. This seems like an episode opener, the opening of Mr. Agreste. But I'm not 100% sure. Although it's weird she's having a dream with Luca in it. So, not quite sure what's going on there. I'm assuming he's still in Brazil. I don't know though, but I'm a bit confused why in the dream she runs onto the ship. I'm really not sure, it was cut off at the start. And then the other clip opens in the town hall, so of course we have Miss Bustier as the mayor, and she is talking to Theo, as we all know is a sculptor, and he is holding what seems to be, from the context of the rest of the clip, a prototype of the statue of Gabriel Agreste. Now, I do have a question here though. This statue, from what we see in the rest of this clip, appears to be made out of stone, like a normal sculpture would be. Usually they're made out of stone or some kind of rock. Fine. However, I just have a question. Obviously in Recreation, there was meant to be a statue of Gaby Baby in the park made out of the melted down alliance rings. And like it was there, they unveiled it right at the end of the episode. However, we haven't seen it since. I don't think they've actually been in the park next to Marinette's house, Place de Vosges, since this season, have they? Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't recall ever seeing this statue. No one's mentioned it. So I'm like, what happened? Do we need 2 statues of Gabriel in Paris? Does the other one, did they retcon it? Just a question. Anyway, so Theo is like, this statue needs to go ahead, but it seems like they've asked Adrian for permission. That was the whole reason they were at County Hall. In the other clips we've seen where Adrian's coming down the stairs and Marinette comes after him and he looks sad, he refuses it. I would assume at this point he doesn't know what his dad did, but he's probably just like, I don't want a massive statue of my dad in the city, thanks, I still live here, that would be really traumatising for me. So Theo leaves Town Hall, gets annoyed, and he gets akumatized, and I quite like this akumatization process, where Chrysalis is like posing as different famous statues. I don't know enough about statues and sculpture to be able to say what all of them are, but the first one definitely I think is the Thinker statue, so that's fun. However, right, so she's always like, okay, this is not different, she's always like, what do you want your name to be? And he's like, I don't know if I dare say this. And I'm like, Theo, you're an absolute psychopath, because he's like Mr. Agreste. So it definitely seems like a copycat situation. But I'm just like, you are literally a psychopath. Like, anyway. So Adrian's at his house, he's playing a bit of table football, and then statue, Gaby Baby, comes for a visit, and Adrian turns around, and he is quite rightly shocked, surprised, traumatised. I'm also wondering, so in Copycat I'm pretty sure has Cat Noir's voice. Is this statue going to have Theo's voice, or is it going to have Gabriel's voice? Super intrigued to know, because if he does, obviously another layer. Obviously these are temporary voices, so I can't say for certain, but if it does, obviously even more traumatising. So obviously Theo wants Adrian to change it back, and go on Thomas Boosty, like, hey, yeah, I do want this statue of my dad in the city, thanks. Natalie has already seen the statue because Natalie is just quick on her feet, runs upstairs to save Adrian, but they both get attacked and separated in the room. Also, I'm really confused about this room. Adrian, which one is your bedroom? Which one is not your bedroom? How many rooms do you have in this house? So Natalie is trapped under some rubble, and Adrian's like, now's a great time to take a shower. And he goes into the bathroom to de-transform, and he leaves it via the window, and then he comes back into the room and cataclysms the rubble where Natalie is trapped and gets her to safety, and she's like, Adrian's still in there, and we're all like, no, he's not. But thank you for the concern. However, very interestingly, we then go back to Thea and Chrysalis, and she's like, get his Miraculous, which obviously, yes, okay, same goal every single time, what's new? Nothing. However, there is something new, because then she's like, if you get his Miraculous and then we get Ladybug's, we can make a wish to bring back Gaby Baby. And I'm like, why on earth do we need Daddy Agreste to come back from the dead? Why? I've never been sure what Lila's plans are, so I never thought this would be her goal, since she didn't like Gabriel towards the end, you know what I mean? But also, is she just saying this to Theo so the man himself can commission a statue of himself? A little bit unsure. Anyway, Catmore's still in the building, he's having a chat with Statue Gaby Baby, and he's going through it a bit, which, you know, not a surprise, like, you're not my dad is dead, this isn't you, this is extremely traumatic, can't imagine how he's feeling. He then, in a fun turn of events, mirroring destruction of course, decides to cataclysm his dad's hand, and he's like, oh my god, what did I do? And then it just regenerates because he's a statue. Thank god. And he then tries to go through him. I think his reasoning is a bit like Inglatiator, is like the person, Theo, the Akuma victim, is inside it, like Andre is in Glaciator, but he's not there, or maybe he's inside his head. You got a cataclysm your dad's head, Adrian. How do you feel? However, Gaby Baby is a statue, obviously, super strong, swats Cat Noir away. He lands in front of City Hall and calls Ladybug. In my opinion, it looks great so far. I can't wait to find out more, but we've got quite a bit of information now, so let me know if you want me to do a little theory video on the episode. Moving on to Stella Force, these images from the clips shown are still in the storyboard phase, hence why they look the way they do. So I don't feel there's as much to glean from this. Basically, they're at some sort of assault course, I don't know, but they're also in their school uniforms, and it seems to take place in a gym, so perhaps this is just their school gym after school, or they've maybe gone somewhere after school or something like that. And basically whoever seems the lead is like, yep, I can go and hit this button at the other end through this assault course in record time. So they're like, Kagami, if you want to be friends with us, you got to do the same. So Kagami's like, no problem, and she throws her rapier at the button without having to move. So this other girl is like, you have cheated, and Kagami is like, you said to reach the button, which I did. Very autistic coded, which same, because I'm also autistic, if you didn't know. So, Kagami has just, like, a bit of back and forth, and it seems like from what she says, like, I want you to be my friend for 2 weeks. Kagami is going to be here for 2 weeks. Where is Marinette? I don't have a clue where Marinette is in all of this. So they have a bit of a chat, and then this, let's just call him a bit of a simp, basically, manages to stumble forward, obviously not accidentally, knocks both the girls over, and then seems to try and become friends with Kagami. I don't know, although she is dating Felix at this time. Pretty sure this takes place between season 5 and 6. So, yeah. Kagami just wants a temporary friend for 2 weeks. They're expendable to her. However, there was a little bit more information revealed. However, please note, this is all secondhand. I wasn't there to confirm it. I wasn't at San Diego Comic-Con. So I'm taking these people's word for it. I don't have clips and stuff, but here is a summary from people who were there. But please note, I didn't obtain this myself. So, there was around 4 minutes of Mr. Agreste shown. A new teaser of Stella Force was presented, featuring Kagami acting as a guide for Marinette in Japan. Marinette wasn't in those storyboards we just saw, so I'm unsure what that's referring to. I haven't seen any clips of this, and the reveal is expected for another couple of years. They're going to be playing this at my funeral, I swear. The rest of the details were already known but were reiterated. Stella Force will be a 2D animated series. Luca has a fake girlfriend for reasons I still don't understand. Season 7 is currently being written and the hiatus continues. So there were no airing dates talked about at the panel, which to be fair, I didn't expect them to be. However, there was some other news that the premiere episode of Season 7 will be split into 2 parts. So I think it's going to be similar to like the finales we get, which are in a part 1 or a part 2, or like Origins, which chronologically is at the start in a part 1 and part 2. So that's going to be interesting. They haven't done like literally the first time and only time we've had a premiere in 2 parts was, you know, the chronological opening of season 1. But there you go, besties, that is absolutely all the information I could find. I did also find some information circulating about a clip about Luca and his fake girlfriend. However, they are the only person I've seen talk about it, so I'm a bit unsure to believe it or not. But anyway, besties, I'd love to know what you think about all of this, and I will see you in the next one.